Hello everyone, Michael back with another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to add headers for your gallery in Power Apps. If you enjoy Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, SharePoint, and Teams videos, feel free to subscribe because I'll be putting out more videos in those areas. And now for my intro. Alright, so you are looking to make headers for your gallery in Power Apps. I'm going to start doing this from scratch. It shouldn't take me too long to set this up, but I just want to show you guys kind of my mindset when I go into creating a new app. So for this app, we're just going to show some basic information. I have a SharePoint list right here. I'm going to show the project name, status, priority, project type, and we'll also show the start date. So basically, my gallery is going to show all this data, and I want headers at the top to kind of show which data is being displayed in that column. Let's go ahead and start that. So marketing, display, we'll call this, and we want this in tablet format. Go ahead and click on create. All right, so we have our Power App right here. Let me make it look good. All right, so we have our screen right here. Let's just go ahead and add a rectangle at the top. This will be for my, just like the whatever screen I'm on, you can put like a label at the top, just so users know what to expect on the screen. So for this screen, I'm just going to show, we'll show marketing projects, and I'm going to include a gallery here. So marketing projects, and we'll make this font weight bold, and let's make this like 30, not 380, 38. And we will set the font color to white. All right, so we have our marketing projects here. So now I need to add headers right below this, and underneath that I'm going to have the gallery. So let me go ahead and add the gallery just so I can show you guys like the space in between. So to add our gallery, we need to add some items right here. And I need to include this SharePoint list in my data so we can actually use it. On the left-hand side, add data. This is from SharePoint. It's SharePoint. And then on the left-hand side of my screen, it's going to show all the sites that I currently have. So I have marketing and marketing projects. Click on connect. Well, now I will be able to use the SharePoint list in my Power App. And to do that, all I have to do is go to items and list the SharePoint list name, which is marketing projects. And now it has some information in there. And I don't want all the information for this. I just want to display the 5 columns across. I'm just going to drag this across. I'll fix up the dimensions later, but let's go ahead and add some column headers here. So my first column header I need to add is project name. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and rename my labels. Label, we'll call this header, and we'll name this rectangle header background. And for the gallery, we'll do a gallery marketing projects. All right, so let's go ahead and create our first header. So text label, and for the text at the top, let's go ahead and change this to, I believe it was project name. So project name. All right, so you see how it's at the top right here. We're gonna go ahead and fix up the dimensions for this. So I need this to be underneath my label header. I mean my rectangle header background, which contains marketing projects. So to do this, let's go ahead and click on label 2. We'll go ahead and rename this while we're here. So we'll do label gallery header, just so we have a difference between label header at the top and label gallery header. I could probably rename those better, but just for the sake of the video, we'll do that, and then we'll do project name. So label gallery header project name. Actually, let's just do label GH just to cut it down. So label GH project name, and for our X value, so that's going to be left to right pretty much. So we need to make it all the way on the left hand side. So we can leave it at 0 because our gallery starts at the left handmost side. That number is not going to change at all. So we will leave that as 0, and we will make our Y rectangle header background dot height, because we're going to take the height of whatever this is. Since it's all the way at the top, the y value of that's going to be 0, so we don't need to include it in the formula. So rectangle, header, background dot height. So it's going to put it right underneath the height, and that's perfect. That's where we need it, the x and y values. So now we need to do the height and width. So for the height, let's just go ahead and do, I think 40 should be good. You can do 80. I like to try to keep it in intervals of like 40, 80. Actually, we'll do 60 for this one. Because if you have like a long column name, you might want to make it bigger because it'll go underneath it. So if project name was like, I don't know, 400 characters, it might not fit in that. So you might have to make it a little bit bigger or decrease the font size. But this should be good. And let's go ahead and make the font weight 20. No, it's too big. Let's try to make it something that fits in that. So project name. And now let's work on the width. So with the width, we have five columns that we want to add. And it doesn't look like any of them are giant, so we don't need to make one bigger than the other. But if you had to do that, I'll show you how to do that. So for the width, we're just going to do parent.width. And that's going to get the parent width of screen 1. And screen 1 width is app.width, so it's going to go all the way across the screen. So label gallery header project name. So since I made it parent.width, it's going to go all the way across the screen. So since I have 5 components, I only need to take up 20% of the screen because 20 times 5 is 100, and I like to think of things in hundreds. So to make this only take up a fifth of the screen, you just want to do times 0.2. So that will give us 20% of the screen, and all the other components will have the same formula here. You can also do division if you want, so that would be divided by 5. I like doing multiplication more because I just run numbers faster in my head with multiplication. If division works for you, it'd be divided by 5. So this column header looks good. Let's go ahead and center it, and let's go ahead and make the other ones. So we go ahead, label, see what the next one is, status. So label group name, group header status. And we need to make this text status. And now we just need to fix up the, I think it's just we need to fix up the X property. So we want this to align right behind label group header project name. To do that, go ahead and do label group header project name dot X. So we need the X property of when that actually starts, which is 0 in our case. And now we need to add up the width. So it takes the X property plus the width, and that will give you the end value over here. So let's just go ahead and do that. Label group header project name dot width, and I can see it lines over here, and that's dynamic. So if you move project header, you say you don't want it all the way at the end of the screen over here. If I change the X value right here to like 20, it's going to scale. So that's always neat. So you don't have to, if you change one number, you don't have to change them all. All right, so that should be good to go. I'm just clicking on one of these, pressing Control C, which copies it. And if you press Control V, it will paste it. So the next one we need is priority. So priority. And now we just need to change the X value on this one again. So we need to change project name to status. And we need to change our label name. Next one's project type. Go ahead and change the text value. The X value. So we want to make it priority because that's the last one we used. All right, and then our last one is going to be start date. change the text, start date, change the X value to project type. All right, so we have our headers up here. Let's go ahead and click on all these. So if you hold down Control and click on every single one, it's going to highlight them all. And I just want to do that because I'm going to add a border to these. So we'll just do a border of 2. And let's see if I can find a cool color for the background. So the fill, just go ahead and comment out that white. So double backslash will comment out that code, so it's not like it's there. And we'll just do color. So we have all these colors here. I'm just going to randomly select one, see if it looks good. Light steel blue. Yeah, I guess we can do that. It doesn't look too bad. We got the blue at the top. We got the light steel blue, and now we just need to include the gallery items. So we have our gallery right here. So first things first, the gallery marketing projects, it's not right underneath our header. As you can see, there's like a little space. So you want to go to the Y property, which is 176. We want to make that dynamic. So we want that right underneath our headers. So you can actually do label, any of your labels will work. Label, group header, project name, dot Y. So it's going to get that Y that Y value, and then we want to do the height as well. So label, group header, project name, that height, and now it's right underneath it. And for the height over here, we want to do, instead of that static value there, we want the parent dot height, so the whole width of the, the whole height of the screen, minus the top header and minus the group headers. So that is going to be parent dot height minus, we'll put this in parentheses to look fancy, a rectangle, header background height minus label, group header, project name, dot height. So it looks pretty big. It's off the screen, so something's incorrect. So the height, parent dot height minus rectangle header background dot height minus label group header project name dot height shouldn't be that big. Add these two and then subtract, and then that works. So that was my mistake. It just took a second running the numbers. So you want to add these two instead of subtract, because I want to subtract that total value from the parent dot height. So now it fits our screen, and our gallery looks pretty good. We have nothing in it, so we need to add some items to it. So if you click on the edit gallery pencil here, you can actually add components to that gallery. And I want to add a text label right here. So right now it's displaying this item.title, and that is our project name. So we need to make that fit underneath that label, that label group header we made. So you want to go to, we'll start with the X property. We'll set that all the way to the left. The Y property, we want that all the way at the top up there. And now we just need to fix the width and the height. So the width for this is going to be label group header project name dot width, because we want it to be the same width as our label up here. And it looks like there's like an offset on the left hand side. So it's going to be gallery, click on your gallery marketing projects, and if I can go to it, template padding, let's go ahead and set that to 0. So now it's all the way at the end of the screen, because if you add the padding, it's going to move it over 5. If I add like 25 here, it's going to move it 25 over. Well, that's going to screw up our headers at the top unless you account for that, and I'm not going to. So that looks pretty good, and now the height of this is pretty large. Just making sure auto height's not on. And that's going to be your template size. So the template size is going to be how big each block in your gallery is. So if you see right now, these blocks are huge. Like my data is not that long where I need 280, it says. So let's go ahead and comment out that code in case I want to reference it back. And we'll just set this to 40 because I can, 80. I think 80 looks fine. So if we set it to 80, it's a little more contained. It's easy for the viewer to read it. And let's just go ahead and change this up. So we can do label. We can do label, project name. Okay. And if you see, it looks like the height of this label isn't the same as the template size. So to fix that, you want to go to height. It's set to 40. You want to set this to gallery marketing projects dot height, not height, dot template height. And that's going to match whatever your gallery template size is. So should be good to go on that one. And now we just need to do that for the rest of these. So copy label project name. So Control C, Control V that again. And now we have our label project name. So our next one is status, and hopefully my labels match that. So label.status. So this is a choice column in my SharePoint list. So you have to do label status.value, and we should be able to get that value. And now we just need to correct the X property, which is label group header status.x, because our X value for that status is right here, and that's exactly where we want our label status. All right. Avoid this at the top. It's just saying that because when I do label group height status and didn't type the .x, it can't figure out that number. So I'm just making sure that yeah, there's only one status. So these other 3 or 4 are blank. Let's go ahead and copy that label, do priority. So this item, priority. And again, this is a choice field, so we have to do .value. Let's just change the X value on this. So label group header priority.x. There we go. Let's copy that. Do label project type. And if you want to change how you name your kind of components over here, feel free to use whatever naming convention you want. That's easy for you. I'm just doing this video really quick, so they're not really the best, but they work in my case. So for this text, we want to do list item dot project type. And it looks like this is a multi-select choice. If I go to project type, column settings, more options, allow multiple selections. Let me see if I can get that on the screen. So if I zoom all the way in, allow multiple selections. So I have to use a different formula for this one. And let me see if I can think of it. I believe it is cat this item dot project type, comma, is it value, comma, and then I want to do a double quote, comma, double quote, close that up. And that is how you do a multiple choice selection field in SharePoint. So basically, with a multi-choice field, I believe it's stored in a table, so each one is a value in it. And you want to concatenate all those values separated by a comma and a space. So let me fix this X property so we can see it. So label group header, label gallery header, and this is project type. .x. And so we have our project types there, which is awesome. Last but not least, we need the start date. So label start date. This text. So this text is actually going to be, I think we don't have to do anything here. Start date. And as long as you're okay with that format of the date. Sometimes people like different date formats, but in my case, that's fine with me. I don't really care. You might have to add another formula there. So let's go ahead and fix the X property, label group height group. I keep screwing that up. Label gallery header start date dot X. And it looks like I only have one start date here. So there you go. It looks like our gallery has gallery headers and everything. So since I changed what I wanted in the gallery, we don't have a separator for each of those. So let me just add a separator so we can see where the one item starts and ends. So if you go to insert, rectangle, this height has to be 1. So we only want it 1 pixel, so it goes all the way across. And then you want to do, for the Y property, you want to do gallery marketing projects dot template height. So it's going to be 80, which is the last pixel in that gallery. So the template size is 80. It's going to be at the very end. And I need to change the X property so it starts all the way on the left hand side. And then I need to change the width so it goes all the way across the screen. So this will be parent.width. We can probably do parent.width, and there you go. So I hope you guys liked the long video that I didn't want to be long, but it turned out long. This is a very clean gallery look. I like how it turned out, actually. It looks really good with the blue on top of the blue. So that is how you are able to make the gallery headers in Power Apps. I hope you guys liked the video. Sorry it's a little bit long, but I explained a lot of information here. So if you like the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more Power Apps tutorials. And if you have any video suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you in the next video.